Maybe instead of the bright red and the prints and the embellishments and the sparkle, you prefer more of a neutral or a minimalist look for your tree. And I have to admit that there's nothing prettier than a beautiful fresh green tree with white and off-white ornaments. So I have something for you today. This is the Dangle Angel in a neutral or minimalist palette. She's fun and easy, so let's get started. To make the minimalist Dangle Angel, we are going to start with this neutral colored bias tape, double fold bias tape. This is from Wrights. There are 4 yards in the package, and I will cut off 1 yard. Here's my 1 yard of the double fold tape, and I'm looking for this side. This edge is wider, and this side I can kind of see the other fold, so I'm going to sew from this side. And on my sewing machine, I'm just going to sew very close to this open. Here, see how this opens? Very close to this edge, and seal that all the way down just with a straight stitch on my sewing machine. And I'm also going to press out all these little kinks. Here's my bias tape, and it's sewn up securely. I'm going to cut off 10 inches for the arms. So I should have one piece that's 10 inches long. This one should be about 26 inches long. This one will be for the body and the legs. And about 12 inches of this very narrow ribbon for the hanging loop. So I folded the leg piece in half and the hanging loop in half, and I threaded them through like this. And now I have a 20 millimeter head bead with a completed face. And of course you can find the instructions for the RickRackRuby face in my Focus on Faces video. Then I have 2 little wooden beads that they measure 5/8. They're oval beads. They're available on Amazon, and these are for the feet. So I will thread these ends through the head from the bottom to the top. I'm going to pull this through until this fold is right at the top of the head, right there. And then I'll place the arm piece, and I'm not worried about getting this arm piece centered. I'm just going to put the arm piece in like this. And then I'm going to tie the longer pieces right here in a square knot. I don't want to pull it too tightly because, well, I want to pull it tightly, but I want to be sure that I don't pull this down. Just want it right there. So I have the arms and the body, and here's the legs. The legs are not even at all. That's okay. Now each end of the legs I'm going to insert into a bead and then tie an overhand knot below the bead. And then the second one. Now, if you want to be a little bit more careful about getting the legs even in their length, you can just be a little bit more careful about tying this knot right here. There we go. Does that look about right? They don't have to be perfect. In fact, I kind of think they're cuter if one leg is longer than the other. Just my opinion. That one will be a little bit longer. And then I'll cut that off to make it neat. And then I'll tie each one of the hands into an overhand knot. And then finally, I'll tie a knot at the top of the hanging loop. And this little basic Dangle Angel body is complete. I do want one arm to be a little bit longer. And then I'm going to secure this right here with a little bit of hot glue. Just a little, just a smudge. I just don't want the head to slip off the top. So the little body is ready. And now let's make the dress. The dress, I wanted to keep this all nice and neutral. So I'm going to make the dress from these Kona Charm Square solids. These are just white solids. I chose white because it's different from this sort of vanilla color, just to give a little bit of a contrast. You could match if you wanted. Of course, you can use any charm squares you like. You can use prints. You don't have to do everything neutral. You can do anything you like. I'm going to add a little embellishment, just a subtle bit of sparkle to the front charm square. I've determined the center by folding, and then I'm going to place a little bit of RickRack trim 1 inch above the hem, and then a second piece here. And to secure this, I'm going to use a glue stick. I'll just apply a little bit of glue stick to one side. Put this about 1 inch above the edge, above the hem. And then a second piece down the center. I want it to end right there where this piece is going across. So I'll add some glue stick to this piece as well. And now I'm going to sew this on my machine, just right down the center of the RickRack. The trim is sewn, and now I'm placing a second square right sides together, and I'm going to sew up the side seams. But I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches open on the top edge right here, and that's for the arms to come through. Now I'm going to turn this little dress to the right side. That looks good. I might have to press this crease here. And with a double strand of quilting thread, I'm going to gather up the top edge. I'm starting in the center back, about 1/4 inch down from the edge, and I'm not turning this under. I'm just leaving this top edge raw. And then when I get to the armhole, I'm just going to skip across, just like it's not even there, and continue. That looks good. Before I pull it tight, I'm going to put the doll in. There's her head. And then each arm is going to come through the armhole just underneath the gathering thread. There's one. And there's the other one right there. And now I'll pull it tight around the neck. And hopefully this trim will go down the center. That looks good. And then I'm going to wrap and secure the thread in the back. I do want one arm longer because it's going to be the arm that holds a wreath or some kind of a decoration. Now I'll secure this thread in the back. That looks good. Let's add some hair. I'm going to use this yarn, which is Dolly Mo Woolly Mohair in the color Snow White. I got this from Etsy. So I'm going to hold the end with these 2 fingers of my left hand and wrap this 5 times. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5. 5 times in a figure 8. Then I'll wrap the center of the bundle, taking this top piece all the way around, picking up the first end and tying this off in the center. And this is my first bundle. I need 2 bundles. This will be for the back of the head. I think for the front, I'm just going to do 4 loops. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and tie it off in the center 2 times. And this will be for the front. You can find the instructions for the hair in my RickRackRuby's hair technique. That's it, Ruby's hair technique video. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun and apply a little disc of glue to the back of her head. Press the bundle onto the back of her head with the center of the bundle just behind the hanging loop. And then I'm pressing the loops into the glue securely. I'll add a little extra glue on the sides. That looks good. And now I'll put a little bit of glue right here at the top in front of the hanging loop. And the center of the bundle goes directly into that glue. Right there. And then I'm going to add some glue to the side of the face, and then I'm going to twist the front and press that into the glue. And then twist this side and press that into the glue as well. Yarn is very fuzzy, and so I'm afraid my instructions may be indistinct because of the fuzziness of the yarn. Okay, so twist to the back, and then apply some glue along the side, and then I'm going to press that into the glue. That looks good. I'm going to just add a couple more drops of glue and kind of style the hair a little better just to finish. That looks good. Now let's add her halo. This is 20 gauge gold wire. I'll cut about a 2-inch piece of the wire. Wrap it around my thimble. It's like a U. Then add a drop of glue to each end. That looks good. Now, for her hand, she's going to hold a wreath. And I have some options. I really like this grapevine star. It was from Doris, and I've had it for a long time, and I couldn't find them anymore, so I won't use this one. But if you have anything like this on hand, that's a cute option, and it really contributes to this sort of neutral, minimalist farmhouse look. I ordered some little rusty metal stars that I think would work, but they haven't come in yet. So I'm going to just stick with my wreath. This is just a piece of greenery. It comes on a stem like a pipe cleaner, and they're 12 inches long. And this is 6 inches. I cut it in half. So I'm going to form a wreath like this. How's that look? Pretty good? Okay, honestly, I'm going to trim this a little bit, wrap, and here where I join the ends, that's what I'm going to consider the top. And I'm just going to hot glue the knot right here. So just boop, glue that. And there's her other arm. And that could be done, but you could also add an extra something to the wreath. A little bell or a bow. Here's a little wooden star, which I think is cute, but it just kind of blends in with the arm a little bit too much. So I'm going to use this wooden snowflake. This I think was from Target. I applied some hot glue to one side, and I'm just going to stick it on there. Hold it for a second, and this should just dangle down. And there's the other hand and arm. Great. Now we need some wings. To embellish her collar, there's plenty of options. You could do a little, like a star-shaped sequin, a gold sequin would be nice, or a little bow, but I'm going to use one of these lace flowers. They're about 1 inch. I think this is going to be enough to sort of conceal all of those raw edges. That looks good. And then finally, we're going to add the wings to the back of her head. These wings are 4 inches across. And you can find the instructions for the wings in my Focus on Wings video. I'm going to squeeze out a little disc of glue right here and press this into the back of her head. So the straight edge of the wing is right almost to the top of her head. That looks good. Thank you for watching my video. If you're enjoying my tutorials, please like, share, and subscribe.